Hi, y'all. Jess Alvarez Parfrey here with Transition US, and I'm sitting with honestly one of my favorite people, one of our newest board members, Nathan Liu, who is an amazing place-based practitioner who is doing beautiful work to regenerate ecosystems and create regenerative economies and cultures of care on Palomar Mountain and in the greater San Diego area. Nathan, I have a question for you. What does workforce development mean to you?
Yeah, thank you so much. Workforce development is this beautiful opportunity to inspire our community in a practice that results in better ecological health and better social well-being. So, bridging that gap, it's an important transition that we're making socially and ecologically and economically. So for me, that's the opportunity to do work in nature that uplifts community, right? That includes the ecology and our human engagement with nature. So to me, it's such a beautiful engagement to learn about how to apply these strategies that are part of our traditions, and a way to drop back into nature and really embody it and learn how to observe and learn how to participate in harmony.
I love it. And I like to think about just this anecdotal fact that we all carry, that most people do not like their jobs or don't like the work that they have to do in order to what? Meet their most basic human needs and ideally at some point thrive. So what we're looking for within this transition context and what Nathan is doing up in Palomar is, how do we create these pathways and channels to provide young people, folks who are looking to off ramp from the old economic paradigm into the new, so that they can get the training and the education that they need and that kind of customized care and mentorship to really meet our full potential as individuals, but also as communities, where we can all again feel joy, feel a sense of deep responsibility and sense of accomplishment in the way that we're caring for the land and for each other. So I think so much is possible here. And again, like the work that you're doing, Nathan, if you were to describe kind of like your guide stars in creating this workforce development project, like what would you describe them as? Or if you have a different way of thinking about it, that'd be awesome too.
Yeah, absolutely. So the way I see it is that it really comes down to heart, right? That if we focus on the heart and we focus on our community in this space, what emerges is this beautiful matriarchal led experience, one that uplifts traditions, one that restores our being into a natural harmony and flow with nature. So that's like a shift to 13 moon calendar as an example. So for me, it's this revitalization of our heritages, our indigeneity, our traditions that are centered around how we collectively care for community, one that brings us together and uplifts us as a unit, right, as a group. And so that to me is like part of the guiding light in this, is that we have to acknowledge the need for our youth and our elders to have a place of engagement. That's really such a key light in this work that we're doing on the mountain. We need to be able to have a place where we can gather safely, where we can invite elders and indigenous leaders and learn from them and really embody those practices, and then sharing that with the youth, so that way we can build this momentum to be able to take on the needs that the land is telling us that it's asking for us to show up for.
Absolutely. And I really like the fact that we're reminded that this work needs to be intercultural, it needs to be intergenerational, and it needs to be intersectional. This is absolutely critical. And again, this question of like, in the face of climate crisis, what if we all thrived? What a radical idea that this crisis could provide the gateway, the portal, the opening to reorient ourselves again in deep relationship in this heart-centered way, to reclaim what is really collectively ours. And again, I really go back to, for me at least, responsibility. And I'm really like full of joy that I get to call a Nathan my neighbor. He's my bioregional neighbor, and we're doing our own work here on Rancho Nepantla, and Harrison Serenity Ranch is about an hour away, and we're meeting more and more folks. There's Doggy is very excited. She's like, yes, this is it. That we need to work together. And again, this sense of care, this sense of community and relationship and deep responsibility. That's what workforce means to me, and bridging beyond just work and labor to livelihoods. Tell me, what does a livelihood bring to mind for you, Nathan?
Yeah, it's holistic health and well-being. It's the ability to accomplish collective good rather than be attached to an amount of hours that we need to work or amount of days per week, right? It's the ability for us to show up and uplift each other, both like financially and socially, right? Like our well-being is at the heart of it. And so the work that we're doing really is centering around how do we provide collective care, right? How do we provide that support that we need, both like in our personal day-to-day, but also in our society around us, right? In our bioregion, like you mentioned. And so there's a need for response, and that part of it, I think, is where the more we can harmonize around how do we care for the people who are providing that response as the foundation, then that from moving from that position, again, that's heart-centered, right? That we are uplifting each other and holding that space that we all need to eat. We all need housing. We all need community and engagement in that way. We need to hold ceremony together. We need to have that collective gathering space. So, to me, that wellness is really at the heart of it.
Absolutely. And I want to ask you this question. So what do we need to pursue and actualize this deep vision? Because what Nathan's doing in Palomar, what I'm doing down here in San Diego County, we're looking at how can we tap into the wealth of relationships and the wealth of practitioners and knowledge happening across Turtle Island and California specifically. We're looking at the California focused pilot project. So what do we need?
Yeah, it's a complex question, right? Because right now our needs are different than what they're going to be next year. So right now our needs are really around housing, and they're around salary capacity, right? Because one, we need places for our community of practitioners to stay at on the land. We're in rural places. We're in the forest. It's not the easiest place to get to, but it's where the work needs to center. So additionally, the support to bring in our educators. We want to invite Indigenous elders, but the only way we can do that is if we can clearly support them in being present with us. So, those are kind of the simple needs right now, right? And they're very, very they're the low-hanging fruit, right? And then as we go forward, what the needs are is going to be based on the community that is present. So there's more food, more orchards, more gardens, beehives, just various tools that we need to implement.
Absolutely. So again, there's like a plethora of beautiful visions and projects that need resourcing, that need support. And we're looking at, again, this California focused pilot project with intentions of linking up with other regional hubs across the country and other networks to have these sites where we can do training and education. So Nathan mentioned the core infrastructure for housing. We need showers, we need bathrooms, we need places for the kids to be so that folks can live on site, learn and work and live. And the other piece is being able to provide for our community who's bringing the knowledge and the expertise that we need to the table. So I'm reminded of the languaging of frontline communities, and also the pandemic brought up essential workers. Like, this is essential work, and folks on the front lines of climate crisis need to have their time and energy valued, and we need to be investing as much as we can into these communities and these places. So thank you all so much for being with us. This was a taster conversation on workforce development and building a regenerative and just economy and future. And I hope you will consider donating and investing in Transition US's work, in Nathan's work. We're out here. We appreciate you for being with us on this journey. Take care, y'all.